Welcome to this presentation. I am Arul Selvan, faculty with the School of Journalism and New Media Studies. This course on digital media covers the wide range of topics associated with the online platform, digital medium, and the emerging technology. There are about 16 units, and the first unit, this is the first presentation. This is about, the presentation is about characteristics of computer-mediated communication. Communication is a part of the human associations. As a human being, the communication is a part and parcel of our life. Many times we process the information internally, we call this internal, interpersonal communication. And a large chunk of our lifetime, we spend time in communicating with friends, family members, in official settings, or in strangers. All our interaction with the others, including ourselves, through kind of information exchanges, either with the one person or few people or large group of people. That's a routine matter, but in the last couple of decades, we are completely associated with the technology-mediated communication. We have mobile, we have computers, and we have multiple computing devices, tablets, and other resources. These are platforms. Then we have cyberspace, the networks, computer networks, network of networks, internet, and provides, these are the platform, physical platform in which a lot of space and platform is being created. We call this as cyberspace, websites, mobile applications, social media. So there are two dimensions. We have internet, the physical platform, then cyberspace where our communication occurs. There's a lot of difference between the way we interact with our friends or family members, and the same friends and family members, we are quite engaged with them through mobile or through computing devices. There are a lot of differences. The way we interact with friends and family members physically in a close proximity, and other than our verbal communication, we use a lot of non-verbal cues, the body language, verbal tone, facial expression. There are many things plays a crucial role in communicating our intention, our message, or information to the other person. We are trying the same way through mobile, same way through computers, computer-mediated communication, but many times this non-verbal communication cues, signals, and may not be translated into other person because of the gap, and the platform is different. The proximity is wide. I may be sitting in Delhi, and the other person may be sitting in another part of the country, and it's a matter of kind of one phone call or through a Zoom meeting or through Google Meet or any other social media platform, I can connect. And there are a lot of issues involved in that bandwidth quality, internet quality, and both the side, and the computers involved in both the sides. Even cutting across all the barriers, if both are connected, we are able to exchange through video. That is much more closer to the face-to-face communication. Face-to-face communication is the standard communication platform. That's a scenario. We can compare it with any other communication settings. But still, there are a lot of difference, and how many of us can afford to communicate to other person continuously through video recording or through video streaming, and that video streaming requires a huge substantial bandwidth and broadband connectivity data, and that support required mobile or computing devices. I think good chunk of the people can afford it, but not everyone. So that's another issue. So now in this session, we are going to discuss about this scenario, how we are communicating individually, one-to-one, or how we are engaging with a group If you go to the Facebook or Twitter, when we are posting a message, if you have 1500 friends, one post goes to 1500 people at a time. Whether they will see the message immediately or later stage, that's a different question, but your message goes to all your friend circle. If you are putting it in global settings, it may go beyond your account. If you are putting in the page or group of any social media platform, it goes beyond your neighborhood, goes beyond your boundaries and reaches the global audience. So that's a specialty with the internet medium, computer-mediated communication. The one definition we want to clarify before starting this session, computer-mediated communication is the earliest term that when the internet was introduced or earlier stages of communication, majority of the communication happened through computers. So that's a term is being coined for any communication which is happening with the support of technology. So computer-mediated communication in today's context, we have to contextualize that the computer-mediated communication refers all other allied digital gadgets, including tablet and mobile, smartphone or button-based normal phone. So they need to, the entire presentation, the computer-mediated communication means, please understand that doesn't mean that the communication happens through computer, desktop, not laptop. The computer-mediated communication here, this session, we are referring to any communication that takes care, that's will be delivered through technology-based platform. So that's a setting, that's a background I would like to give. The whole presentation, we are going to discuss about the types of computer-mediated communication, forms of computer-mediated communication, media elements, what are the media elements we use in a computer-mediated communication, purpose of this computer-mediated communication and theories of CMC. First, we will look at the definition of computer-mediated communication. Basically, there are two methods in which the CMC, computer-mediated communication, happens. One is synchronous, another one is asynchronous. And it could be in the mail or it could be conferencing system, whatever the method, the synchronous or asynchronous. We will give you much more explanation about what is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. And through this method, the person who wants to communicate, he or she encode the messages that's being converted into digital signals and relayed from one person to another person through computers or digital handsets to other person. The other person also need to have equivalent compatible digital handsets or gadgets to decode the message sent by one person. This is a fundamental definition. The second definition, we can take it like that, the computer-mediated communication encompasses various forms of human communication. It's not encoding, decoding, using digital media, all these are process. But this process, these kind of, the technological process happens behind the network, are carrying the human feelings, human emotions, human communication, but through networked computers or through mobile or through digital devices. A process of human communication, of sharing words, ideas, takes place between a group of people over the digital network. That's another definition. The information exchange may be on the real-time basis, that's called synchronous, or it may happen in a delayed pattern, that's called asynchronous. But overall, the communication process uses multiple media elements. So in this kind of definition, you might have come across various concepts: the real-time basis, delayed pattern, human communication, and various media elements. So these are the things we are going to learn little more, or we are going to discuss more in the coming slides. In the definition part, we were discussing about synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous computer-mediated communication means it's a form of computer-mediated communication where the information exchange happens in the real time. For example, through phone call, mobile phone call, if I am calling from one place to I am calling other person, both the person supposed to be available in the real time. The other person should accept my call. On real time basis, we are exchanging information. The person A and B sitting or staying in different locations. There is a huge gap between geographically, physically, there is a huge gap. The proximity is wide. But communications happens in a real time basis, and the A is calling and B is receiving, and over the next couple of minutes they are exchanging the ideas, information and communication. That's called synchronous communication. The people involved at both the ends of the communication process should be available in the computing networks. If it is a Zoom call or Google Meet call or any other video conferencing system, live thing. If this is between one to one, one to many kind of thing. The virtual and video conferencing is one of the examples of synchronous CMC. That's quite common nowadays, and due to this is one of the outcome of this kind of COVID situation. We have started to exploit the online synchronous video conferencing system, particularly in the official purposes. Even the personal family circumstances is being expanded tremendously, and many groups, many sections of the society started using with the available infrastructure, with available computing devices. This is about synchronous computer-mediated communication. The second one is about asynchronous communication, where the synchronous we were discussing about should be real time, like a chatting, video conferencing, a phone call. Another one is asynchronous, where this is just opposite to synchronous, but another form of computer-mediated communication. In this asynchronous communication, computer-mediated communication happens with the time constraints, which means that people involved in the communication process are not necessarily available on a real-time basis. For example, sending an email, sending a message through social media platform, or sending a message through other mobile devices. You are sending, or I am sending, or anyone sends the messages, and the other person may receive it immediately if the other person sits in the other system while checking the mail, or the mobile is connected to the net data connection continuously. The message may be delivered immediately, but the other person whether it reads the message immediately or not, because the asynchronous part, and there is no constraint, and there is no necessity that other person should read the messages immediately. I am sending a email, and the mail may be accessed, read by other person, may respond to to me either within a day or within 2-3 days time, or maybe much more longer time. Sometimes may not be responded at all. You can easily compare with the face-to-face communication. When we are saying something to other person, the other person should respond. If there is a delay, we prompt them to understand, we prompt them to listen to our messages. With the email or messages or any other communication through asynchronous communication, asynchronous computer-mediated communication, we deliver, the other person will receive it. But reading, understanding, responding takes a very long time. So that's the difference between asynchronous and synchronous. In the synchronous computer-mediated communication, some of the examples are video chatting, real-time messaging, and phone calls. In asynchronous computer-mediated communication, the classic examples are email, social media forums, and collaborative efforts. Collaborative efforts means, for example, the Wikipedia is a classic example. Many of us familiar to the Wikipedia. This Wikipedia is a collaborative project. It's being created by a group of people, a community. Not a small community, a big community. The community not belongs to one country, belongs to the entire global settings, and the articles are not written in a real-time basis. Maybe somebody initiates, the third person adds, and some other group edits, and go on. The improvement goes on that. So that's a classic example for another example for asynchronous, and that's not only Wikipedia. There are many online-based collaborative efforts are happening, and we will take up that kind of group dynamics in the online platform in another presentations on online communities and virtual communities. Other than Wikipedia, one example I can give now is the open source softwares. These are community working on developing a software, operating system, knowledge system. The collaborative efforts happens in multiple way. So this is a kind of aggregators where the computer mediated communication playing a crucial role. And the other difference between synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is a simple and natural, it's extension of face-to-face communication or group communication or mass communication. It's being relayed instantaneously. If a political leader speaks, delivers a lecture completely through social media platform, and all his or her followers are the people who likes his ideology or who likes his personality, they tend to watch or see the online relay live broadcast. So that's what the normal physical political meeting happens in the city or in the downtown. Same thing is happening, replicated in the online platform. That we can call as a synchronous. And both the synchronous level, sender and receiver are fundamentally connected to each other. In order to connect with each other, if it is an audio based or if it is a text based, then a simple data connection is sufficient. Or if you go beyond the audio and video, audio and the text, then video based synchronous computer-mediated communication means you need high speed connectivity. The reason is the video demands lot of signals needs to be translated, encoded and decoded. Many more digital information is being exchanged in between A and B if it is a video. We need a big bandwidth for that. And some of you might have noticed while doing or participating in webinars or online conferences, where when you are presenting or when you are attending and when you have some weak connectivity, you might have come across this problematic area of the video connectivity. So that's the other aspect of the negative aspect of synchronous. Then the asynchronous computer-mediated communication is basically delinks the sender and the receiver from the communication process, not necessarily to stay in one time. There is a time delay and there is no constraints of bandwidth. So if there is a bandwidth not required, then the exchange happens, but a majority of the asynchronous happens in a textual format or recorded versions available in the public domains like YouTube or other photo, audio, video sharing platform. Now we'll come to the overall concept of, we have seen the two types of computer-mediated communication. Now what actually refers to the common people like you and me or to the society? Computer-mediated communication creates opportunities for education and learning. Massive knowledge system is being created and on demand. It's not coming to you automatically, and you need to extract the information. Of course, that's a different skill set is required. And then the CMC creates new opportunities for participatory democracy, online activism, and the group can create it and they can consolidate it based on some simple single common interest. They can work, they can sustain their voice on certain issues, environmental activism through online, that's quite popular nowadays, climate change through online mobilization. So that's another opportunity is being created, and like a Tunisia and Arab Spring, there are many more social movements happen through computer-mediated platform, and CMC creates a counterculture and an unprecedented scale. And earlier in our mass communication platform, the message is being delivered from main center to the periphery. Okay, and there is a very limited scope for entire audience to participate with the main center. Limited letters to the editor or to send a message to the channel, and on the editorial policy they may choose certain representation and they will incorporate it in their own communication platform. But whereas in the online platform, there is no hierarchy and there is no gatekeeping. Everybody is a producer, everybody is a user. So that's a speciality with the computer-mediated communication, and it engages it creates another issue also because of all these opportunities, because it's transcending the boundaries and it's cutting across your own individual life. There's legal issues and there are some privacy issues, and another issues, copyright issues. The materials are provided, and plagiarism is one of the major problematic area because of materials, and easy to copy and easy to use, and it's a ready-made material sometimes. So that the ethical concerns, the privacy issues, legal dimensions, or the issues of the computer, where there are potentials. Similarly, there are other challenges also in the computer-mediated communication. That over the period of the course we will understand more on these ethical issues, legal issues, and privacy matters. Then there is two types of computer-mediated communication. Now we can see the different forms of computer-mediated communication. The major three types of forms we can classify. One is one-to-one, like you are talking to your friend, like a face-to-face level. You are talking to other friend through the mobile or through the video chatting or through social media platform, one-to-one. Then one-to-many. One-to-many is like me, I am a teacher and I have a group of students. They are not sitting in the particular location, but they are sitting across the different locations through, for example, take this SWAYAM platform. Here I am delivering to a group of people, many people, and many of the online education happens like that, and many of the webinars, online small level group of conferences where the resource person centered meeting means the one or two people controls the entire group communication, goes from one to many. You can see the difference between one-to-one, one-to-many. The third category is many-to-many. Here we can bring this Wikipedia, or we can bring the group online meetings, collaborative meetings, with large chunk of people communicate with large chunk of people. You will be surprised how come thousands of people at a time, in the real time, they will communicate with each other. Normally that never happens like that, and system also doesn't support, because that will create anarchy in the online platform. But the many-to-many happens majority in the asynchronous platform. Asynchronous means like a Wikipedia, or if you are editing a Google Doc with many more people, whenever time permits, you will go to the Wikipedia article, log in and edit the article, add the article and delete the materials, and somebody else will check yours after some time, maybe real time or maybe after some time. So there is a lot of scope for thousands, lakhs of people exchanging information between each other. Ultimately, they are trying to create a product. Classic examples are available. So this is a many-to-many, majority in asynchronous. One-to-one happens usually synchronous. Of course, there is asynchronous also, mail, you are sending a mail to other person, sending a message to other person. One-to-many also, there is a lot of scope for synchronous and asynchronous. Many-to-many, the scope for synchronous is very limited. Limited is technology may afford, but normally it's physically not possible, because that will create a confusion of lakhs of people, thousands of people gathering at a time and communicating each other. That will create a trouble. If it is the group dynamics with a very strong behavioral pattern and agreed kind of community norms, then some hundreds they may able to meet and collaborate, but a majority of the many-to-many settings happens in the asynchronous platform. Another set of types is impersonal, interpersonal, hyperpersonal. These are another three types of computer-mediated communication, and this is not a types, it is based on communication settings and what sort of information is being exchanged over the period of time, but all the three are not existing in a concurrent way. For example, impersonal communication. Impersonal communication is basically the earliest form of computer-mediated communication when we had computers dominated networks, and there was no mobile in that time, and the data connection was limited with limited data connectivity. That time, due to this limited technological availability, we were communicating majority through text based communication, and normally non-verbal cues are minimal, and group tasks are usually achieved in a better way. The reason is that the text based communication usually excludes, say, your social hierarchy. The message is being delivered and other person may not know your physical status, your social status. So, the communication gets a priority, and a lot of group tasks were achieved during the impersonal level. Impersonal means there is a gap between the actual meaning of the communication and the other person receiving the communication part. Because the text, the non-verbal cues are removed, so it's become impersonal. So, the earliest form of communication, and nowadays that is not being practiced much because of the technological advancement, and we have adapted to the online platform like similes. We have a lot of emotions, not only text, there are ways of expressing emotions. So, impersonal is becoming interpersonal nowadays. So, the second part is the interpersonal level, where we are trying our level best to replicate the face to face settings in the online platform. See, earlier I have said that face to face is the highest standard of communication platform. So, we are trying to replicate, imitate the face to face settings in the online platform, in the computer mediated communication, the similes and video, audio messages, because the data supports and computing on mobile devices supports, and that is why the impersonal become interpersonal and extensively is being available, but still there are many people arguing about that. There is a gap between the face to face and the interpersonal computer mediated communication. Means there is a significant level of delay happens from between A to B in interpersonal computer mediated communication. Delay in the sense the way we are communicating, the way it's being received by other set of the people. So, that's becoming interpersonal. And the third part is hyperpersonal. Hyperpersonal means since the same asynchronous, the data plan and a lot of other technological feasibility provides a scope for everyone to project our image, project ourselves. Go to your social media platform and you think multiple times to update your profile picture, and you will think multiple times while updating your social media accounts, post your personal post in your own limited level then. So, this has become hyperpersonal. We always take a lot of care while projecting our image, self presentation and selective self presentation in order to create an idealist perspective. We try to project ourselves in a very different manner rather than the physical real characteristics of a normal life. So, we will take up the different media elements, the purpose of computer mediated communication and theoretical aspects of computer mediated communication in the second part of the same session. And in the first part we have discussed the different forms and types of computer mediated communication. The second part, the application side of computer mediated communication. Thank you.